The power of imagination, building your future from within. When people ask me how I created something as big as Alibaba, my answer is usually simple. I started by imagining. It's funny to think about because at the time, the internet was almost a joke to most people. They laughed when I said technology could connect small businesses to the world. But I didn't care. I closed my eyes and saw a future where everyone could participate in a global market, no matter their location. For me, visualizing the destination is always the first step to getting there. Imagination is like the blueprint of a great building. Before raising the floors, you need to know what you're constructing. In my early days, I would sit in my small apartment scribbling ideas on scraps of paper. It was like an architect planning a masterpiece. I had no money, no technology, no connections, but I had a clear vision in my mind. And what you visualize repeatedly, you begin to create. It's not just optimism. It's the starting point of any transformation. When I was an English teacher, I always encouraged my students to imagine something bigger for themselves. Many came from small villages and believed their lives would never change. But I told them, if you can't imagine a different reality, how can you expect to live it? The power of the human mind is incredible. It doesn't distinguish well between imagination and reality. So, why not use that to your advantage? If you want to be a leader, start by imagining yourself leading. If you want prosperity, see yourself already enjoying it. This is how you plant the seeds of change. Visualizing the future also gives you unwavering energy to face challenges. In Alibaba's early years, we were ignored by investors and mocked by many. But in my mind, I already saw Alibaba as one of the largest e-commerce platforms in the world. That image motivated me to keep going, even when everything seemed impossible. As a phrase I love says, if not now, when? If not me, who? The power of believing in a vision is invaluable. Imagination isn't just a refuge. It's the engine that drives the most innovative people. Think of names like Steve Jobs or Elon Musk. They imagined things that seemed absurd at first, but revolutionized the world. So I ask, what have you been imagining for your life? Are you designing your future or merely surviving? Don't underestimate what your mind can create, because in the end, everything starts with a thought. The art of silence, protecting your seeds of creation. I often say that silence is underrated in today's world. In a universe saturated with notifications, opinions, and distractions, finding moments to listen to yourself is almost an act of courage. When I started Alibaba, I learned a valuable lesson. Keeping some ideas silent can be the difference between watching them thrive or having them crushed by criticism. Silence isn't just the absence of sound. It's the fertile ground where true creativity blossoms. In the beginning, I didn't share my big ambitions with everyone around me. I knew that if I said, I want to create the world's largest e-commerce platform, many would laugh, or worse, plant doubts in my mind. I preferred to keep it to myself, like a valuable secret. Imagine a delicate seed planted in the soil. It needs protection and care before it's ready to face the elements. Silence plays that role in our journey. Of course, this doesn't mean hiding from the world, but knowing when and how to expose your ideas. Sometimes, the more you talk about your plans, the more energy you lose in realizing them. People often ask me why I was so reserved about my projects in the beginning. My answer is simple. It's much easier to criticize an idea than to build something from scratch. When you work in silence, you conserve energy and gain focus. I remember advice I once received from a friend early on. If you want to catch the rabbit, don't change the rabbit, change yourself. This means that instead of trying to change the world before you're ready, you should strengthen yourself and be prepared when the moment comes. I did exactly that. In my moments of silence, I adjusted my strategy, strengthened myself mentally, and planned every move. At its core, silence is a mental discipline. It teaches you to be patient, to listen more, and to speak less. And surprisingly, it's in those moments that you start hearing what truly matters: your intuition. It's not easy, especially in a noisy world like ours, but it's essential. The question is, are you willing to find the silence necessary to grow? The law of assumption, being the change you demand. If there's one thing I've learned on my journey, it's that successful people act as if success is already part of them. When I founded Alibaba, I felt like a giant. Not because I was one, but because I needed to believe I was. The way you see yourself in the present defines the steps you'll take in the future. The law of assumption is powerful because it transforms if into when and maybe into now. The magnetic force of gratitude, attracting your future. Gratitude is one of the simplest yet most powerful practices you can adopt. I've always believed that being thankful opens doors you didn't even know existed. In the early days of Alibaba, when we had no money and no certainty, I would start and end each day by reflecting on what we did have: a dedicated team, a vision, and the belief that we could make a difference. Gratitude gave us the strength to keep going, even when the odds were stacked against us. Thankfulness isn't just about appreciating what you have now. It's about expressing gratitude for the future you're building. When I imagined Alibaba as a global platform, I was already thankful for the impact it would have, even though it didn't exist yet. This mindset aligns your energy with abundance. It's like tuning an instrument. Gratitude ensures you're in harmony with what you're working towards. Some might think it's unrealistic to feel grateful for what hasn't yet materialized, but I see it differently. Gratitude acts as a magnet, drawing positive outcomes closer. I used to tell my team, let's be thankful for the problems we face. They're proof that we're growing. When you approach challenges with gratitude, they stop feeling like obstacles and start becoming opportunities for growth. Even in times of rejection, gratitude played a key role in my journey. When investors turned us down, I learned to see it as a lesson rather than a loss. Instead of frustration, I focused on the insights we gained and the resilience we built. Gratitude transforms setbacks into stepping stones, and that transformation is essential for personal and professional growth. Gratitude isn't just an attitude, it's a practice that shapes your entire perspective. When you consistently focus on what you're thankful for, you cultivate a mindset of abundance. This mindset empowers you to approach life with optimism and resilience, making even the hardest challenges seem surmountable. Embracing discomfort, where true growth begins. Growth doesn't happen in comfort zones. It happens when you challenge yourself to face discomfort head-on. When I started Alibaba, nothing about our situation was comfortable. We were underfunded, understaffed, and underestimated. Yet, it was in these moments of struggle that I discovered the greatest opportunities for transformation. Just like a butterfly struggles to break free from its cocoon, discomfort is a sign that you're evolving. Discomfort pushes you to learn and adapt. I remember the first time we pitched Alibaba to investors and were met with skepticism. It wasn't pleasant, but it forced us to refine our approach. Each rejection taught us something new, and we emerged stronger every time. Embracing discomfort doesn't mean enjoying pain. It means understanding that the process is necessary for growth. I often compare discomfort to the gym. You don't build strength by lifting light weights. You grow by pushing your limits. Similarly, in business and life, the moments that feel the hardest are often the ones that prepare you for greatness. Discomfort sharpens your skills, strengthens your resolve, and forces you to think creatively. One of the most uncomfortable decisions I made was stepping down as Alibaba's CEO. People thought I was making a mistake, but I knew it was time for new leadership to take the company further. Discomfort isn't just about external challenges. It's about making tough choices that align with your vision. Sometimes the greatest growth comes from letting go. Ultimately, transformation requires you to embrace the unknown. It's not easy, but it's worth it. The question isn't whether you'll face discomfort, it's whether you'll let it hold you back or use it to propel yourself forward. Internal focus. Cultivating your inner garden for external reality. Your external reality is a reflection of your internal state. This is something I've learned repeatedly throughout my journey. When I started Alibaba, I realized that no matter how much chaos surrounded us, our success depended on how focused and aligned we were internally. It's like planting a garden. The soil must be fertile and free of weeds for the seeds to grow. Your thoughts are that soil. Focusing internally means being mindful of what you allow into your mind. In a world full of distractions, it's easy to let doubts and fears creep in. But I found that your mind is your greatest ally if you cultivate it properly. Visualizing success, practicing positivity, and staying disciplined in your thoughts are powerful tools. They shape the actions you take and the outcomes you achieve. I've often told people that success is not about luck. It's about preparation, and preparation starts in the mind. When you believe in your vision, you naturally align your actions to make it a reality. During Alibaba's early years, I would remind myself daily of our goals and focus on what we could do, not what we couldn't. This mindset kept us moving forward, even in the toughest times. Inner focus also means not letting external noise dictate your direction. When critics doubted us, we didn't waste energy trying to convince them. Instead, we doubled down on our vision. What you focus on expands. If you focus on negativity, that's what grows. If you focus on your goals, they become clearer and more attainable. By mastering your internal state, you take control of your external reality. It's not about ignoring the challenges around you. It's about choosing how you respond to them. And when your inner world is aligned, the outer world has no choice but to follow suit. Selective forgetfulness, shedding the old to embrace the new. Sometimes, the key to moving forward is learning what to let go of. I've always believed that to grow, you must forget the old stories that no longer serve you. When I started Alibaba, there were plenty of times when past failures could have held me back. But I realized that carrying that baggage would only weigh me down. Selective forgetfulness is about releasing what doesn't align with your future. Forgetting isn't about denial, it's about choice. I chose to let go of the rejections I faced when I applied for jobs or universities because they did undefine me. What mattered was what I did next. Every person has old patterns or limiting beliefs that they cling to, but those beliefs can become barriers. To move forward, you must detach from the past and embrace the possibility of something new. One memory I've selectively forgotten is the ridicule we faced when we first pitched the idea of e-commerce in China. Back then, people said it would never work. If I had held on to those doubts, Alibaba wouldn't exist today. Forgetting the negative voices allowed me to focus on the vision we were building. Selective forgetfulness also applies to identity. Who you were yesterday doesn't have to dictate who you are today. Many people define themselves by their past mistakes, but growth comes from letting go of that old identity and stepping into a new one. It's like shedding an old skin to reveal something stronger and more vibrant underneath. Letting go doesn't mean ignoring lessons from the past. It means carrying forward only what empowers you and releasing the rest. By practicing selective forgetfulness, you create space for growth, innovation, and transformation. Mental insulation, guarding your vision from negativity. Protecting your mind is one of the most important things you can do for your growth. When I started Alibaba, the challenges weren't just about resources or competition. It was also about shielding my vision from the negative voices that surrounded me. Mental insulation is like putting up a shield against distractions and doubts. It's not about ignoring reality. It's about choosing what deserves your focus. In the early days, I noticed that criticism could easily drain my energy if I allowed it to. People would say, e-commerce in China will never work, or you don't have what it takes to build this. But instead of arguing, I learned to tune out the noise. Just like a gardener protects their plants from harsh weather, I had to protect my ideas from external negativity until they were strong enough to stand on their own. This doesn't mean isolating yourself completely. It means being selective about what you consume and who you allow into your circle. I often tell people that if you surround yourself with negativity, It's like pouring poison into your well. On the other hand, surrounding yourself with positive influences is like nourishing your mind with fresh water. The people you spend time with, the books you read, and the conversations you engage in all shape your mental state. Mental insulation also requires discipline. In a world full of distractions, staying focused on your goals is a challenge. Social media, constant notifications, and endless comparisons can chip away at your confidence. That's why I made it a habit to disconnect regularly and reflect on what truly mattered. It wasn't about escaping the world. It was about finding clarity amidst the chaos. By insulating your mind, you give yourself the space to grow without interference. It's like creating a greenhouse for your thoughts and environment where they can thrive without being trampled. And when your mind is protected, your vision becomes clearer, your energy stronger, and your path forward unstoppable. Mental posture, standing tall in your belief. How you carry yourself mentally sets the tone for your journey. I've always believed that success begins in the mind. When I started Alibaba, I walked, spoke, and acted like someone who believed in the vision, even when there were no results to show for it. Your mental posture is like the foundation of a building. It determines how strong and resilient you'll be when challenges arise. Confidence doesn't come from external validation. It comes from within. I remember the first time I presented my ideas to investors. Many of them didn't believe in me, but I believed in myself. I stood tall, spoke with conviction, and focused on the possibilities, not the doubts. When you carry yourself as someone who has already succeeded, you inspire others to see the same potential in you. This mental posture isn't about arrogance. It's about alignment. It's about living in a way that reflects the success you're working toward. Think of it like a musician practicing before a big concert. They don't wait until the performance to feel prepared. They live and breathe their craft long before stepping on stage. Similarly, your mindset should align with your goals from day one. Building this mental posture takes practice. It's not always easy, especially when the world challenges your confidence. But every time you choose to act like the person you want to become, you strengthen that identity. Whether it's through affirmations, visualization, or simply holding your head high, each small step reinforces your belief in yourself. When your mental posture is strong, it becomes a signal to the world and to yourself that you're ready for success. It's not just about how others see you. It's about how you see yourself. And when you see yourself as capable, unstoppable, and worthy, the opportunities you've been waiting for will start to align with your vision. Creating space. Releasing the anchor of the past. Looking backward can be one of the biggest barriers to forward momentum. When I started Alibaba, I knew that dwelling on past failures or rejections wouldn't help me move forward. The past is like an anchor. If you keep holding on to it, you'll never sail toward your future. Instead, I learned to use it as a reference, not a residence. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting where you came from. It means not letting it define you. I often think about the many times I was rejected. Whether it was job applications, university exams, or early investor pitches. If I had allowed those experiences to consume me, I might have never taken the next step. But by focusing on what could be instead of what had been, I freed myself to dream bigger. There's a story that has always resonated with me. The biblical tale of Lot's wife, who turned to salt when she looked back. It's a reminder that obsessing over what's behind you can freeze your progress. I've always believed that the past is there to teach you, not trap you. Each lesson I've learned has been a stepping stone, not a roadblock. Sometimes, leaving the past behind means releasing old identities or beliefs. Who I was at the beginning of my journey is not who I am today, and that's a good thing. Growth requires change, and change requires letting go. Clinging to outdated versions of yourself only holds you back from becoming who you're meant to be. The freedom to leave the past behind is one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself. It's not about erasing your history. It's about carrying forward the lessons and leaving behind the limitations. When you release what no longer serves you, you make room for the future you're building. To welcome something new into your life, you must first create space for it. This was a lesson I learned early on in my journey with Alibaba. Before we could build a global e-commerce platform, we had to let go of old ways of thinking and operating. It's like clearing a cluttered room. You can't add anything new until you make space. Creating space isn't just about physical actions. It's about mental and emotional readiness. I often tell people that the universe responds to a vacuum. When you let go of what no longer serves you, you create a void that attracts new possibilities. For us, this meant challenging traditional business practices and embracing a digital-first mindset long before it was popular. One of the hardest parts of creating space is letting go of comfort. It's easy to hold on to what feels familiar, even when it no longer aligns with your goals. But transformation requires sacrifice. I remember making tough decisions, like pivoting strategies or saying no to opportunities that didn't fit our vision. Each choice cleared the path for something better to take its place. Creating space also involves saying goodbye to old fears. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, and fear of change can crowd your mind and block your progress. By facing those fears and releasing them, you open yourself to growth. It's like pruning a tree. Removing the dead branches allows new ones to thrive. When you make room for a new reality, you're not just changing your circumstances, you're reshaping your future. This act of clearing and creating is the foundation for building something extraordinary. And once you've made space, you'll be amazed at how quickly the new begins to flow into your life. Staying true to your vision, your unwavering compass. One of the greatest challenges in any journey is staying loyal to your vision when the world tries to pull you in different directions. In the early days of Alibaba, there were countless moments when people doubted us or pressured us to change course. But I believed deeply in our mission to empower small businesses through technology. That belief was our anchor, no matter how rough the waters became. Staying true to your vision requires discipline. I've always said that doubt is like a shadow. It only grows when you let the light of your belief fade. During tough times, I reminded myself why we started in the first place. I knew that our work wasn't just about building a company. It was about creating opportunities for millions of people who had been overlooked. That purpose gave me the strength to keep going. There were times when staying true to our vision wasn't easy. Investors often urged us to prioritize profits over people, but I refused. I told them, customers come first, employees second, and shareholders third. Some thought this approach was foolish, but I knew that if we cared for our customers and team, success would follow naturally. A clear vision acts like a compass, keeping you on track even when others try to steer you off course. Being faithful to your vision also means ignoring distractions. In a world filled with trends and quick fixes, it's tempting to chase immediate gains, but true success comes from consistency and alignment with your purpose. I often compare this to running a marathon. The finish line doesn't come into view right away, but each step you take gets you closer. Staying focused ensures you don't waste energy on detours. When you remain loyal to your vision, it becomes a guiding force that shapes your decisions, actions, and outcomes. It gives you clarity amidst chaos and courage in the face of doubt. And as you hold on to it, you inspire others to believe in it too. The wisdom of Tai Chi, balance, and flow in business and life success isn't always about doing more. Sometimes it's about doing less, but with greater intention. This is a principle one learned from Tai Chi Chuan, the ancient Chinese practice of balance and flow. Many people think success is all about nonstop action, but I've discovered that moments of pause and reflection are just as crucial. Tai Chi taught me the power of working with energy rather than against it. When I was leading Alibaba, there were times when I felt overwhelmed by the sheer volume of decisions to make. In those moments, I turned to the principles of Tai Chi. Be still, center yourself, and then act with precision. Tai Chi isn't about force, it's about finding harmony. In business, This means recognizing when to push forward and when to step back and let things unfold naturally. The beauty of Tai Chi lies in its ability to teach patience and adaptability. Life and business are unpredictable. Much like the flowing movements of Tai Chi, instead of resisting change, you learn to move with it. For example, when we faced challenges in expanding Alibaba internationally, we didn't rush to impose our systems. Instead, we adapted to local needs, allowing our vision to grow organically. Practicing Tai Chi isn't just a physical exercise, it's a mental one. It teaches you to stay calm under pressure and to approach challenges with clarity. These lessons have shaped my leadership style. When conflicts arise, I don't rush to react. Instead, I pause, reflect, and seek the most harmonious solution. This approach has saved us from making hasty decisions and strengthened our long-term strategy. Incorporating balance and flow into your life doesn't mean avoiding challenges. It means approaching them with wisdom. Just like in Tai Chi, true power comes from alignment, not aggression. When you learn to move with purpose, you unlock a strength that feels effortless yet profound. Letting go. The freedom of detachment from results. One of the hardest lessons I've learned is letting go of the how and when. When we're working towards something big, it's natural to want control over every detail. But I've discovered that clinging too tightly to outcomes can block your progress. Detachment from results isn't about giving up. It's about trusting the process and focusing on the steps you can control. When we were building Alibaba, there were moments when success seemed distant. I wanted answers. When would we see real growth? How would we compete with global giants? But I realized that obsessing over these questions only created stress. Instead, I shifted my focus to what we could do each day to move closer to our goals. By letting go of the need for immediate results, we created space for success to unfold naturally. Detachment also brings clarity. When you're too fixated on one outcome, you can miss other opportunities. I remember when we launched Taobao to compete with eBay in China. Many doubted us, but instead of focusing on beating eBay outright, we focused on serving our customers better. This mindset allowed us to innovate in ways that ultimately led to our success. Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you trust that your efforts are enough. Like a farmer who plants seeds, you don't need to dig them up every day to see if they're growing. You water them, provide sunlight, and trust that they'll sprout in their own time. This patience and trust in the process are what sustained me during Alibaba's most challenging years. When you detach from results, you free yourself to focus on what truly matters: the work itself. The irony is that by letting go, you often achieve more. Success becomes less about control and more about alignment with your vision and purpose. Transformation doesn't start outside, it begins within. I've always believed that your external world reflects your internal state. When I founded Alibaba, I wasn't just trying to build a company. I was working on becoming the kind of person who could lead it.